Hello, welcome back to another episode of Tea and Takes with me. Okay, I'm so happy to be here. Today's take is inspired by actually very recent activities. Like something just happened now, and he gave me this idea and this take, so I thought to come say it. So, literally some minutes ago, I had this staff of mine come and bang my door, and she had been banging it for a while. And so what had happened was, typically with anyone who works with me, I try to be very kind to them. I try to be very just like lenient. I try to give a lot. Almost on every visit that they come, I give food, I give food stuff, I give clothes, I give snacks for their children, I buy things for them, I give perfume. Just think about anything, honestly. I give them, they always go home with a bag of things. And I tell them, like, if you need anything, let me know. And if they do need, I give them, apart from the salary, I would give like transport money or tips. That is not their right. I just decide to, when they're going home. And almost all the people who had worked for me in the past, for whatever reason that they need to leave, they still stay in touch with me for years after. And very recently, I think a week or two ago, one of them from almost 2 years ago called me that, her parents died, and like I think her mom died, and I still sent her money to help with the burial. She was very grateful. They give birth, they call me to let me know, I send them something. Like, so that's just how I at least try to live my own life. And I think that my theory is this: if you decide that kindness is a behavior you want to exhibit, it is important that boundaries must be your best friend. Meaning, if for whatever reason you value kindness, you want to be someone who is intentional about being kind, you want to be someone who people experience as kind, you think that is a good thing to give out kindness, to be a good person. Simultaneously, you must not invest all of your skill, all of your thought on being kind. You must invest almost an equal level of as much as you're sort of being intentional about training yourself to do kind deeds, you must be just as intentional in training yourself to make your boundaries like steel. So, because there is no true goodness or kindness without boundaries. Any kindness or goodness without boundaries becomes cowardice. It becomes people taking advantage of you. It becomes you being the victim all the time. So, in order for you to be a kind or good person who doesn't end up being the victim or the pathetic person in every story, because your kindness is not a bad thing. But if it's not supported with boundaries, or you are easy to guilt trip, it's easy for someone to guilt trip you, then you just become a pathetic person who becomes very resentful and has a lot of bad experiences with people taking advantage of you. And at some point, you're an adult. Nobody wants to keep hearing stories of how you were taken advantage of. Like, what did you do about it? Because at some point that becomes just like cowardice, and it's just pathetic, and it's not nobody's going to pity you. So because my theory is that, and this is something I've experienced a lot since I became someone who was intentional about trying to be kind, is that because maybe most of these people did not experience me when I didn't used to take deep thought to being kind, they attribute your kindness for stupidity. They think that that once you've been kind to them a couple of times, it means that you have no boundaries. You will never stop giving to them. And so, more than even the person who is wicked, you must be the type of person that once you put your foot down, nothing shakes it. You can give chances, but there must be boundaries. You must tell yourself, like, this person has done this one time, and the second time there must not be a third time. There must be that boundary, like, and it is firm, unshakable, and unmovable. Because if not, then you'll be a perpetual victim. Because, for example, this scenario that just happened with this staff, she had done it multiple times. I think this is the third time she's doing it. And I had warned her the first, second time that, like, she would do it, leave me stranded, tell lies, and then just ghost for like 7 days or 6 days. And then, for whatever reason, she'll come out of the woodworks and just then start doing this. And that's what people do. The people who like to take advantage of your goodness, that's what they do. So I always tell a family member I know who is very kind. I think that I even started having a desire to be kind because of her. That's my mom. My mom is very, very kind. And I used to tell her this thing, that the people who take advantage of your kindness, they are banking on you being too shy or too concerned about your image as a good person to set boundaries. So I used to try to say it in Yoruba that it's not an adage basically, but just like anything to fair show weary. Like, you understand? The person that's trying to show their madness, they are banking on the fact that you are too good to have like your own grace in your back that you can bring out. You understand? They are banking on the fact that you yourself, no, you're too gentle. You understand? So the person that tries to, for example, embarrass you, or like, they always do this type of thing, which is like to make everybody be there, to be like, is this person really not? You understand? To put pressure on you through external people. Because what ended up happening, because she was at my door, banging at my door for almost 1 hour, and so different people pulled at my door, like staff in the estate, and then they were calling me and all that. So that's what they bank on, that type of like, So after she had ghosted me and tried to call me, I think last week, I had let her know, like, okay, this is done. Thankfully, it's the beginning of the month. I paid her last month. She hasn't come at all in this month because she ghosted me. And so I had been like, oh, okay, so it's so perfect. It's not like I owe you any money or something. I've paid you your salary. I even gave you some extra. So it's a done deal. Let it be clean off. But she then decided that not only we should do the calling, as I have now said, like, I'm not more picking your calls again because this relationship is over. She decided to try to come to my door, to bang at my door. And people even in like relationships do this. Sometimes you end a relationship, maybe with a guy that had been terrible to you multiple times. Maybe they know your house and they're like, oh, I know your house, I'll come to your house. And I'm like, I think because I'm pretty problem free. I would hardly be the type to fight with you or argue with you or be dramatic. I'm not. And so they always think that because you're like that, you have no boundaries. And so they then maybe come to your door and they're like banging on your door and being like, I will sleep here, I refuse to leave or whatever. Like they want to do the dramatics because they feel like, okay, yeah, I'm a bad person, I don't care, I'm going to do this thing. But because you've been good in my experiences with you, I assume that you have no boundaries and you would. Okay, I think this is not the second thing. Apart from you needing to have like boundaries, like still, you also need to not be afraid of being seen as bad. I think that's another thing. I think that your desire to be good must not be because you want a reputation only as good. Does that make sense? Your desire to be kind should just be because of your own conscience and your goodwill. The fact that if you're a kind person, to be honest, you get to live with yourself and get to live with your heart, knowing that you were somebody who was kind. That should be your reason. It should not be because you want people to see you as kind, because people honestly are very fickle and they are neither here nor there. Today they see you as good, tomorrow they might see you as bad if it benefits them. So they like, if you're concerned with people's opinion of your kindness, then that is another way that you'll be easy to manipulate, because people like this will be able to think like, gosh, I know this person wants people to see them as good, and so if I'm dramatic and I try to do this to pull people together and influence them to be like, if you don't open this door for me now, everybody's going to think that you're wicked. Then they've been able to manipulate you, because then you want to do whatever will make people see you as good. Does that make sense? So I think that's the second thing. And you must also not be scared of like what people say. So because another tool that manipulative people who try to use your good to them is that they go around talking. They're always the first person to want to look for every time they can hurry to like tell the story to like, oh, can you imagine this is what this person did to me? Like you were even the one that they actually offended. You will not even tell anyone, but they will be the first to like try to call person A, B, C, D, to tell them like, oh, can you imagine this is what this person did to me? You must not be so overly concerned with reputation or whatever that you are obsessed with like, I don't want them to go tell person A or B or C that like, oh, I did this. The thing about the truth is it always comes out, and it always, in the long run, it never stays hidden forever. You understand? Like the truth is, even if at that moment the people who are gullible enough to not have perception to be able to say that, well, this your story is not adding up, even if they believe it in that time, bad people are consistent. That's why Yoruba says ifiniwa. They can never hide their badness for long. So you have to just trust in that like balance that the world has, which is that those same people that have maybe believed what the bad person has said and that have believed their stories, that same person will still go and hurt them in that way. Give it 3 to 6 months. They can't hide their bad character for long. They will experience that exact thing you experienced, and then the story changed. Like clockwork. That has never failed me. That has never failed me. I've never had an experience where somebody went around and told stories, and whoever was the person that was dumb enough to believe it, and did not experience that exact same thing from that person within 6 months. And then they will not come back and be like, oh, this person said, and sometimes that's how I even hear that, like, somebody said something bad about me, and they'll be like, oh, this person actually said this thing about you, and they said this bad thing about you, and me too, I experienced it, but I didn't want to. That's it. So you have to trust and believe in that process, and also trust that the type of person that will believe what they are going to say is not also the type of person that you need in your life. Or in the case where it is even like a job thing, that has happened to me with work, where like maybe someone is like not a good person and they try to smear your name around, and that's why I said your reason for wanting to be a kind or good person must just be for the principles of it, because it is good to be kind, and because if you're a believer in God, whatever, the universe, it is a yin and yang thing. It is a whatever you how do I say it? Whatever you sow, you will reap thing. Which is like, if you sow kindness, the truth is God and the universe, everything will always align for kindness to come back to you. It doesn't have to even be from the people in your life. When I had something like this happen to me with work, where somebody who was consistently a bad person, tried to smear and say things about me, I trusted in the process. I didn't go around trying to defend myself to those people. But guess what? One of the people I had been kind to in the past that was just a stranger, I didn't know that that person was important. From far away, God raised that person. And the person was higher than all the people that this... Okay, let me say the story in a more structured way. Let's say person S is the person who was like the bad person that I tried to push and push and push. I had been kind to the person in time past. I then tried to set a boundary. From setting the boundary, they went to person A, B, C, who were bosses, like actual people who were like able to make and break things. And they went to person A, B, and C and told them like, oh, and smeared my name, told lies, everything. And I remember that my family members at the time were like, are you not going to go to person A, B, and C to try to defend yourself? And I was like, no, I'm not going to. Because first of all, I trust in my track record. I trust in the fact that God saw all the good I did for person S, and they still, decide to do this. So I left it alone. Meanwhile, as consistently as possible, person S had about maybe 6 months before interacted with, let's say, let me call him Mr. Boss. Had interacted with Mr. Boss, not knowing then that Mr. Boss was a boss. You understand? Mr. Boss had just, the person thought Mr. Boss was just like a very lowly person in the company, and so the person had been very mean, very rude. As I said, bad people are consistent. Had been very mean and rude to the person, and because the person needed to teach them something, and she had been very mean, rude, dismissive, not wanting to teach the person that thing. And she had also told me that I should not teach the person. But that's the thing about being good. Be good because it's a principle. Why will I not teach this person? This person needs this skill to do their work. I know how to do it, and I've been told to teach them. But why will I not teach this person? Just so it's my principle of just being kind to be like, I wouldn't want to be in this person's shoes of not knowing this thing. And when the person reached out to me, not only did I teach them, I went out of my way to go and get them different contacts of people. I literally recreated the process in certain of the ways I predetermined that would be difficult for them, or they will not even be able to perform their duties because of those limitations. I restructured the process along with other departments to make sure that it was easy for them. And I did that within like 2 weeks of me being like swamped with my own work. I did not know they were important. Truth be told, even with the other person, the person S that was the bad person in this scenario, she herself too could not have known that that person was important, because it was the people that were supposed to be doing that task were low level staff. But apparently he was just all those type of present bosses that want to be involved and understand every process before they start overseeing it. She did not know that. So she went around, smeared my name to all the people. There were some people that were not even bosses, that were like actually supposed to be friends of mine, that believed in her smears. I didn't defend myself to any of them. The critical time then came, the meetings, when you could see that all my bosses had believed her lies. So it was really looking like this is like the worst thing to happen, and I'm not going to, I might not have come out. It was looking like I was not going to come out of this, like, unscathed. And then at the last minute, that's how this person, who Mr. Boss, who had helped at that how many months ago time, came up and asked about me. I said, what does Simi do? I will never forget that day in the meeting. It was the last meeting. Because I said, like, I have heard all these things about Simi that don't seem to be this thing. This was not my experience, when blah, blah, blah. And then they had no choice but to now sing my praises, because it was going to look bad on them. So they had to do this. And then when the time would come, the way it all turned out, I ended up getting the role and she didn't. And then there was another opportunity again. Me, even in my own good, was like, oh, this person actually, this girl, this person S that had been a bad person. I was like, oh, she actually knows how to do it if you want to get her. And they were like, no, we are never going to get her because her attitude is bad. So all I'm driving at is, be good because it is good to be good. Be good because you put yourself in that person's position to be like, oh, wear the shoes, be empathetic, have some empathy and consideration. Like, if I was the one, if I was the one maybe that was not as privileged, will I be happy if someone gives me food or gives me extra clothes that they have, instead of like throwing it away? Or will I be grateful if they gave me this thing? Do you understand? Like, do unto people as you would want to be done. But in the same way, any way you will not treat somebody, if they treat you like that, don't take it. Give people chances, of course. Give people the first chance, second chance, but don't give people unlimited chances, because there is no benefit to it. There is no. I think that's another thing. Maybe sometimes the people who term themselves as good actually think that there's some power in the universe that is just going to give them benefits if they allow people to step on them. That's not true. There is no greater power that is going to just be like, because you have suffered so much and you have allowed people use you and had no boundaries, oh yeah, get this great reward. There's no great reward you get from allowing people misuse you and use you anyhow. So don't let it happen. Like, guard yourself. God has given you the divine right to guard yourself. The power of life and death is in your tongue. So meaning that you have the right to kick people out of your life if they are bad for you, and you have the right to keep people in your life. And if you decide to allow cowardice to allow you keep people in your life that shouldn't be kept, then you get to reap the repercussion, because what you sow you reap. If you sow cowardice by allowing negative people to be in your life, then when they destroy things, they destroy it. Like, I watched a video today where they're talking about like the difference between Abel and David, and the person was saying that Abel, I mean like in the Bible, to say that you must not be unaware of, maybe for example, jealousy. That David was aware that Saul was jealous of him, and he didn't, while he was playing his harp and trying to soothe the spirit of the king, he did not claim like, because the king is even asking me to play the harp and showing me favor, it means that I would close my eyes to the fact that he's obviously jealous of me. That because if not, David would have died, because Saul would have thrown the javelin at him and he would have died. But once Saul threw the javelin at him, he would duck and excuse himself and run away. Like, you must not be naive. Your goodness must not be synonymous to naivety, because if not, as Yoruba would say, okugbe, like your death or your destruction or whatever will be worthless. It's only stories that you will just be telling, and then you will lose the leverage you even had to now be good to other people. Because if you consistently keep bad people in your life and you refuse to draw boundaries, at some point you would receive losses, and from the losses you would now lose the blessings that would have allowed you to bless other people who were deserving of such blessings. So yeah, to round this up, to be good is to be able to be to have boundaries and to allow yourself to be seen as wicked when you execute said boundaries. Number two, your good must not be outward. It must not be for other people to affirm that you are good. It must be because you're good. It must be because of the internal reason that you have decided that kindness and goodness are important elements to you. People must know in their interactions with you that there are limits that you have, that if they reach that limit, you will never go back. And you must never. You must have boundaries that affirm that once they have offended in that way, they can never come back. And so yeah, I think that's it. Just remember, there's no great reward for being used. Abel, that person's example in the Bible was that Abel should have been aware that his brother Cain was jealous of him and should not have been deluded or been delusional. He should have been aware and not been killed because he just died. If you've died, you've died. Do you understand? If somebody has committed evil because you refuse to set boundaries, they have committed evil and it is what it is. So yeah, don't let yourself be used. Don't let your kindness be spoken of as evil. Have boundaries. Stop giving to the people who have proven that they do not, they misuse what you give them, or they feel entitled to it, or they do not give back. They do not believe in, you know, giving back just as you give them, receive just as you give. You're not you need to be filled just as much as you feel others. So everything must be reciprocatory. If you see people who are disrespectful or who try to consistently have numbers, I think that's what I would say. Have a number of times that people can do things that are not good to you. And different offenses, because some offenses should not have a number. Once they are done once, that is it. You must not give them another chance to do it again. It's with some other offenses that you can still give them multiple chances, but some things, if they have shown you that in their character to do them, that is it. So yeah, you must have principles for you to truly be a good person. Don't allow yourself to be the type of person that is the good person that is always telling victim stories. You must not be a victim. Alrighty, have fun. Until next time, toodles. Mwah.